thinking about it.
Hey guys. It is Thursday, October 26th, and we're back for our Thursday chat. And we have a little present. We have a little surprise for you. You guys are always asking us questions about financial stuff. We know that that's a big stressor for you. So we've got another specialist in here to answer some questions, give you some tips and tricks on the financial side of things. So we've got our friend Millen Livis, who is going to come up. We're going to let her introduce herself and give you a little bit more detail on who she is, what she does, and then we're going to start asking questions. And any questions that you have specifically, throw them into the comment section so that we can ask her while we have her here. As you guys know, the money stuff is not Sam and I's wheelhouse. I mean, we can give you a couple tips and tricks, but we're certainly not specialists. So we wanted to bring someone in who is. So, Miss Millen, hi. Thank you for coming. Thanks for hanging out with us today. Just let everybody know kind of a little bit more about you and what you do.
Hello, ladies, and whoever is watching us. Thank you so much for inviting me to have this call. So a little bit about me. I mean, I've lived a long life up until now, so it's a very long story. But let me make it. Let me condense it into facts. So I was divorced, I was depressed, and I was broke. I never ever could imagine that at some point in my life I will become financially independent. And yet I'm financially independent for over 13 years now. And I was not born into wealth, and I didn't marry the wealthy guy. I created this. And that's why I feel that I'm in the right place and living my purpose, because now I want to teach other women, especially those that going through such a challenging phase in their life as divorce, or maybe they already divorced and now they have to figure out how to manage their financial priorities. I'm in a place that I could help many of you to find a way out of this financial stress without taking a lot of risk that many people who try to catch up take risk and then they worsen their situation. You've got to be strategic and you've got to feel empowered. And that's why I'm here.
Yes. Oh, I love that. I love that story too. So let's start with the basic question. So what are the most common financial mistakes that you see single parents make, and maybe how can they avoid those?
All right. So I just mentioned that you've got to be strategic, right? This is one very important mental focus that all of you must have. You've got to be strategic, balancing your financial priorities, because sometimes when you in a panic state, you feel like, oh my God, I just have to pay my debt with all the money I have, or I have to invest, and I will invest in the stock market with whatever I have. So a lot of people are scattered. Their focus is not on balancing priorities, but they focus on like, I need to catch up. And they take some tips left and right. So what I think is very important is to know how to how to balance your financial priorities. We all balance priorities. Okay, today I have to take my kid to the doctor, and then I have to take him or her to the football game or whatever it is, right? But financial priorities also must be managed, and managed in a way that you actually don't fall into bias of presence, like what I have to do right now, but see short term, medium term, and long term in terms of your finances and how strategically plan them. And that's why with my clients, I use what I call money mapping protocol, because that's exactly what they can do using this money mapping protocol. They can tell their money where to go instead of wondering where it's gone, right? So you say, okay, I want to, out of my income, I want to allocate, let's say 70%, or maybe for some it would be 90% toward lifestyle cost. Or maybe someone can allocate only 60 or 50. I have women who went through divorce, got settlement, and now they, have different situations. it would be unique for each of you. And then portion of your income you can allocate toward your loan savings. I call it money buckets, right? So you can allocate toward that. And then you can allocate certain portion toward your short savings. And there is a suggestions like what do you use which savings for. Like, for example, long-term savings would be used for emergency fund if you're planning to buy a house, or if you're planning to maybe start putting money aside for your kids to go to college, whatever it is. Long-term. Short-term savings, again, we're talking about percentage from your total income. Short-term savings could be like unexpected health bill, or unexpected plumber bill, or something maybe you want to spend time with your family on vacation, take kids on vacation, or maybe buy gifts. So it's a short term. And then the final money bucket is investments. You see, you've got to manage this. You've got to start investing, even if you're paying debt. You've got to see where you can get higher return on your investment, and that's how you balance. Because a lot of people put all their money that they have available just to pay off the debt, and I understand the intention behind this. But then if you don't have any money to spare, if you get unexpected bill, etc., then you get in another debt, right? So that's why I always encourage people I talk to and my clients to see bigger picture, be strategic, and manage your financial priorities strategically.
Okay. What's the amount of money? Like, what should single parents aim to save in an emergency fund?
I suggest, in general, somewhere between 3 to 6 months of your monthly lifestyle cost. Sometimes it's not possible. So I would say 1 month is better than nothing. But ultimately, if you could save 3 to 6 months of your lifestyle cost, that would be great. And you can build to this. You don't need to say, okay, like it's not possible. Start with what you can. Start with where you are, and start putting a certain amount across different money buckets. And emergency is one of the most important. But you, at the same time, you have to, like I said, you have to see what is necessary right now and where you want to be a longer term. Like, you've got to keep in mind, because I'm also an energy healer in addition to the financial background. So you always must have a vision for the life that you created. And journaling and meditating, it's very important. And maybe for some of your audience it may sound like a little bit woo, but I'm telling you, I know billionaires who write every day the vision that they're working on, because it works.
Yeah, we definitely talk about that all the time, about journaling and meditating and things like that, and using that law of attraction. And so there is someone who said, I can't catch up. My ex makes substantially more, but I still pay 46% of my salary. I can't afford to live on my own. Would you have any advice or feedback for someone who feels
I
like
need
they're
a little bit clarification. So this person still lives with the ex because she cannot afford to be on her own, right?
Okay, we'll ask.
That's your understanding?
I
So
would
give us more detail.
Yeah, I would assume the 46%. Well, it can't be child support, because child support usually can't go over 40%. But yeah,
Okay.
need more.
So I just from my understanding that because of the financial situation, she still has to live with her ex. And look, sometimes in life we all have to adjust to the situation that we are in, right? And maybe that's the way for her to live for now. But what I'm saying is that you've got to see how you can get out of it. What is the possible next step for you? And plan for this while you in this challenging situation living with your ex, how you can get out. Start putting money aside toward your emergency fund. Start putting money aside maybe toward, if you have debt, toward paying off your debt. So manage your priority the best you can and have a vision like what you're creating. And, if children are very young and you cannot work, like maybe full time, start doing what you can. Maybe it's a part-time. Remember, this phase in your life is a stepping stone for your next phase. Okay. It's not the end of your journey. It's somewhere, some phase in your journey, and it could be stepping stone, and you will be wiser and maybe more strategic next time. And I want to bring this to your attention, ladies who are watching us, that your children, if you have children and they, going through this challenging situation, they're watching you. They're watching every decision you make. They feel your energy. They feel when you have fear. They feel that too. They feel your stress when you are stressed out. So be very mindful in terms of what do you model to your kids.
Right.
Okay? And that includes, by the way, that includes money management as well.
Yes.
Because many people who have problem with money were raised in a family where money struggle was one of the most important memories that they have.
Yep.
And I'm one of them, and that's why at some point, like I said, I was broke, and because most of my life I was afraid that I will not have enough. So I had to go through all this rewiring, and then studied with investors and studied with spiritual mentors and etc., to get to the place where I am. So it's a journey, and this journey will change you. It will transform you, and you will become a completely different person, more focused, empowered, more clear. So see it as a journey, not as a destination. And whatever challenging place you might be in right now, just know that it's just a stepping stone.
It is. Yeah. I think that's really true. I know in my own story, I had money when I was married. We were fine when we were married. Got through my divorce. My divorce cost me 6 figures. I was poor. I bought a house. I bought a new car. And I put myself in a hole, and my monthly bills were more than what I could afford. And I sat for probably, I would say 6 to 8 months, just in a pity of like, what the fuck is going on? He didn't pay child support. I needed that child support, and I dug a really big hole. And I thought, oh my God, this is my life. This is what it will be forever. And then just on a whim, somebody offered an opportunity to me to join an MLM. I joined it, and that little bit of extra income changed my whole life. But for that mindset though, I was stuck in that mindset thinking I should have never got divorced. I should have just stayed with him. I'm always going to be struggling. Woe is me. I'm broke as hell. I was a teacher. There was no way for me to work extra hours. Right. So I was like, how the hell will I ever make more money? I can't work any more than I'm already working. But it was just taking an opportunity. But I had to have the right mindset to be open to see an opportunity in front of me that said, grab a hold of that right now. Do that for however long you need to do that to earn some extra money. And I slowly dug myself out of the hole that I put myself in. And it wasn't my life, it slowly led me to more opportunities. And it was a mind shift change that led me to Jared, that led me to financial freedom, that led me, my path kept changing because I kept looking for a change instead of the whole, oh, it's me. I'm so sad. I'm so single. I'm so poor. Like I had to go looking for stuff. I had to be ready for it to be in front of me and accept it. So this commenter, I think, is we have both male and female inside of our groups that are watching. And I think this is probably a male or a gay couple. I can't really tell, but and it doesn't matter. But it's saying that person does live with their dad now to save money because they are paying 46% in child support and alimony. and she makes over $100,000, and I make a little more than half of the working 60 hours and only get 7 hours of visitation. So outside of the visitation comment, already working 60 hours a week, losing 46% of his pay to go to the ex-wife. What can he do? What can he do to kind of get ahead, or at least break even, or not feel so beat down? Do you have any advice?
So, Sam, first of all, the story that you shared is very powerful. I appreciate that you shared this.
Thank you.
And to comment on this situation, I've worked with people who had horrible divorce. Horrible. I mean, the spouse was living in a multi-million mansion, and she had like 4 kids struggling, paying for their expenses. So you don't always have control over your ex. You don't always have control over your situation. Focus on what you can control at the moment, right? If you have to live with your dad right now, it's so be it. And see how you can, there are 4 levers that you could use to change your financial situation. One is have more income. And maybe that's your situation right now. Maybe you've got to find another job that will provide you, like Sam was saying, like a little bit more income really was helpful. Second lever is decrease your expenses. Look at start tracking your cash flow. If there is something that you could adjust for the moment, like it's not forever, it's for now. What can you adjust for now? Another one, but that's kind of like if you in a place to use that is use what I call good debt, right? So many people created wealth by leveraging other people's money. So for that, you have to have a good credit score, a good job like W-2, because right now it's very hard to borrow money. And personally, I don't think it's the right time to invest in real estate at the moment, because I expect, we already see that commercial real estate is going down, then residential may go down. So be careful. But that's one of the levers that people use to change their overall financial situation. And the fourth lever is your mindset and your education, your knowledge, right? We talked about mindset a lot. Try not to get sucked into pity party for too long. I understand when we all like sometimes feel sorry for ourselves.
Yeah.
But give yourself a deadline. I'm gonna start looking beyond my past, and because you still living in your past, even though it's your past. So start living in the present and start conditioning yourself for the future. That's why I told you, have a vision of the lifestyle that you want to create, right? Stop being conditioned by what happened in the past. Start conditioning your mind, your vision, your choices, your decisions by what you are creating at the moment.
Right. And then I think for this person, alimony will eventually run out. It'll stop unless it's for life, which does suck. But I think once you start accepting that, okay, I'm losing 46% of my pay, I'm losing it. Like I can't change it. I can't control it. I'm losing it. It's like the money gods. I think Leah and I are really starting to get into the money god universe, theory that if we believe it'll happen, it'll happen. And I think once you accept things about your life, the door's open on the other side. But when we hone in on that negativity for so long, it's hard. I just had a mom that was questioning whether she should take her ex-husband back for $2,600 for a car that she had bought her kids. And I told her, I said, I'm all for it if that's what you want to do. You want to go spend money to go get $2,600 back. I said, but what would happen if you just let that go? How do you think the universe would repay you for just accepting that you've already spent it? You've already bought the car. You've already spent the $2,600. Let him get away with not paying it. But you holding on to this, vengeance that he owes you this $2,600 is closing the door on so many other money opportunities that are probably trying to get to you, but you can't see them because you're so isolated on this $2,600 that you're missing all of these other opportunities because your negativity. So
very good point. I just want to say, you brought up very, very important point. A lot of people keep focusing on the problems, keep focusing on what someone did to them. And I think what helped me to get out of my very, very dark situation in the past, I started focusing on solutions. What can I do? What can I do? What can I do now? What can I do in 1 month? And start planning this, not only like through journaling, that's important, not only visualizing, that's important, but start aligning your choices and your decisions with what you want to experience. In the case that in what you describe right now, this person, she was not thinking about solutions, right? Like you said, this $2,600, she probably could make it easily, but the energy that she put in this vengeance toward this ex was wasted on something that could be productively making her much more than that. Just like what you did with your decision to join MLM and have additional income. Look, you've got to manage multiple priorities. And now I'm not talking about financial priorities. You've got to continue working maybe through your divorce lawyer and deal with your ex and resolve it. But at the same time, it's a new phase in your life. Start building this as your new phase. You're not relying on anyone. That's why I like to help people become financially independent, because that's the only way to become truly free. Free from access, free from government, whatever, like truly free. And that's why it's a shift in the way you think and shift in what you focus on. Focus on solutions, not the problems.
Everything is mindset. You're so right, because I feel like if you've decided that there's no other way, if you've decided that you're stuck, if you've decided you're the victim and there isn't any other option, then you're right. You're right. But if you look for the solutions, if you're open to opportunities and meeting people and things unfolding for you, then they will. It really is what your expectations are and what you believe. I remember after my second divorce, I had to leave a job that I loved to go get a new job that I couldn't stand because it paid more money. And it allowed me to afford a teeny tiny, ugly little townhome that I could live in with my daughter. And then it was lockdown happened. So I was working full time from home. I was homeschooling my kid. I was doing all the cooking, all the cleaning, all the grocery shopping, taking care of the cats, doing it all. But I knew I wasn't happy and I knew I wanted more money. And so that was the catalyst for me to start my own business. So even though I had a million things going on and I was responsible for so much stuff, that's how I started my coaching business and helping other people with the knowledge I had from my own experience going through divorce. So there really is always an option. And I love this comment from Lexi. She says, I hated my ex in the fact that he never helped me with anything and I never seemed to get ahead. So I started putting money aside and saving where and when I could. And then I moved out and just took on full responsibility of my child. And I am now able to live on my own as a single mom, handling all the bills alone. So congratulations. That's amazing.
Right.
And again, these things happen all the time. You feel stuck, but what are you telling yourself about your scenario? What conversations are you having about your situation and about yourself in your mind? That is determining the results that you're seeing. Even if you feel like you're under this pile of things, there's always a way. So if you decide that you're going to look for the possibilities and you're going to look for the solutions, like Millen is saying, you will find that, but you have to be open to it. You can't just decide that there's no other way.
Leah, I love what you just shared, and I want to share this phrase, which I think it's my coach that said this, and it says, "You're not stuck, you're stubborn." If you feel stuck, it's because you're stubborn, because you keep focusing on the same thing over and over again, right? So
I think we see that a lot in our clients, when we get on calls, and it doesn't have to be about money. It could be about another solution. But if they're hell bent on just staying in that negative victim mindset, we could give them 100 solutions. If they're stubborn and stuck on no, and it's like, okay, but you can't change that. You got to start at some point, look in another direction. Otherwise, you were going to go nowhere but be stuck. But it's that stubbornness of like, but no, this isn't fair. And I'm like, I didn't say it wasn't fair, but we got to move on. Like, we can't stay over here.
Or finding the reasons why it won't work instead of trying to find the reason that it might work or that it could work. It really
it's a catch-22. Once you start thinking, oh, that wasn't fair and this isn't fair, you know, it's hard to find fairness when you really not looking outside of the box.
Right.
And looking outside of the box is looking for solutions. Okay, maybe it wasn't fair. Maybe it was a bad decision that you made in the past, or someone else, you know, hurt you, whatever. But now it's up to you how to respond to this, right?
Yeah.
So, and unfortunately, this mindset focus on the problems on the past and how, you know, unfair it was. It's a very, very common issue that people experience, common state of mind. It's a state of being that, you know, some people just feel stuck. I was in this state of being, and it took me help from the coach, some time, and a lot of personal work on myself to shift this, because I was stubborn. I was not willing to look outside of the box.
And do the hard things. Sometimes you got to sell stuff. Sometimes you got to stop going to Starbucks. Sometimes you got to stop getting your nails done. Like,
I mean, Sam, you were bartering, right? For your gym membership. You were cleaning toilets. You were trying to find a way.
Yep. I sold garage sale stuff. I was on Facebook Marketplace as soon as it came open. I was doing everything. I was bartering services, mowing yards for free internet. I mean, once my neighbor knew I was stealing it anyways from him, he said, will you at least mow my yard? And I was like, sure. So, I mean, I had free internet for 2 years because I was robbing it from my neighbor, but I mowed his yard for it. I mean, when you're poor and struggling, you got to do what you got to do to put food on the table, to make sure your lights stay on, to make sure you have gas in your car until you're ready. Now, I think all that hustle that I did do, that's why my MLM took off, because I knew how to hustle. I already knew how to hustle for money. So that's why that worked too, is because I was open to it and I needed it and I worked it. I didn't sit there and go, oh, I tried and it didn't work. I hustled it. I made it work.
Look, ladies, what is common, like three of us, three different stories, but what is common is that we all went through this hustle time. And we all kind of felt, for some time, felt pity for ourselves, but then we, you know, put our big girl pants on, whatever, and had to do what we had to do, right? And the good news is that it's possible to be on the other side of the fear. It's possible to be on the other side of desperation and being broke, etc. So it's, like I said, it's just a stepping stone. For whatever reason, your soul journey needed this experience, so you will grow. Because all these financial struggles, look, Sam, you're not the same person as you were before. You're much stronger, you're much more confident, you're much more clear. So we all needed to go through this challenging time to transform ourselves.
So true. Absolutely. And Aubrey has a great comment too. She says, I was a stay-at-home mom for almost 6 years with a small part-time hustle that still makes up the difference now. I reached out, I networked, I sought possibilities, and through friends and connections, I'm making the most money I've ever made at a job I love 2 years later, and I'm supporting my kids and household. The push is hard, but be willing to do the hard things. I love that.
Beautiful.
Absolutely right.
Really well said. Congratulations. So congratulations. That's amazing.
And so debt is a huge struggle. That's something that it weighs heavy on a lot of our clients, is it's like, how am I ever supposed to get out of all this debt, be it credit card debt or whatever it is,
lawyer debt.
So do you just have any, like, just a couple effective strategies for single parents, maybe to pay off debt without feeling like they're compromising like their well-being or for themselves or their family?
Okay, so first of all, I mentioned that you've got to manage your financial priorities. And when it comes to that, don't put all your money that you have available toward that. You've got to always build up your emergency fund. So if something happens, you don't have to go back into that. When it comes to repaying debt repayment, there are two methods, right? One is choosing the smallest loan regardless of the interest rate, like the smallest loan amount, regardless of how high or how low the interest on this loan is, and start paying all of this effort that you, all of the money that you have put into repaying this loan. That's, I think it's called snowball. I personally, because I'm very strategic, the way I repaid my debt, I chose the loan with highest interest rate, not with the smallest amount, because smallest amount you will pay and you will say, oh, now I have only 2 loans to repay, right? So emotionally, it's maybe convenient and pleasing. But the other method would be to choose the loan with the highest interest rate and put all your effort, your focus, your money, available money to repay the loan with the highest interest rate. Okay, and then you move and you pay, while you're doing that, obviously you have to pay the minimum on all other loans. If you have multiple loans, you have a minimum on all other loans, and you pay more than minimum toward whatever you can toward the one with the highest interest on the loan. And then once that's done, then you move to the next one. So I actually, on my YouTube channel, I recorded a couple of videos going in more detail how to repay debt using these 2 different methods. So
would you recommend people calling whoever they owe debt to and asking, negotiating the price, whether it be credit card, whether it be attorney, hospital bills? I don't think people think that's a real thing. You can negotiate anything.
You can. You know, what do you have to lose? So the worst scenario, they will say no. But it's absolutely, and you've got to be very courteous and say, look, I pretty much at the point where I either stop paying this or I will pay, you know, at the lowest percentage. And I would appreciate if you work with me. So just find the script and just give it a shot. I always recommend.
Tell you that definitely happens, because that job I was just telling you about that I had to get, that I hated, I was a litigation negotiator. What I did was, on behalf of my clients, call these people they owe debt to try to negotiate them down. You can literally do that with anything. If you owe, let's just say, for example, $2,000, you can call them and say, well, I have $1,000 I could give you right now if we settle this debt. And a lot of times they'll take that and wipe away that other $1,000. I mean, obviously the values change, but from credit card to credit card, different loans that you have, you can 100% call them and try to negotiate a settlement.
One of my clients, and you know, this is very, very important aspect of paying off debt. She called. She couldn't imagine before, like we talked, that she can actually negotiate that. And she had consolidated that like over 30,000. I said, call and negotiate the interest rate and see what else you can do. She negotiated interest rate and she negotiated the amount down. So it's totally possible, and it's absolutely important to give it a shot.
Yes, everywhere, even your attorney. You know, I've told the story before. I went at the end of the year to my attorney and I owed, I think 7 or 8 grand. And I said, I have 2,000. How about you wipe my debt? And she's like, come on. And I said, okay, 3,500 cash I'll give you if you wipe my debt clean. And I gave it to her on like December 23rd. And she wiped the rest of my debt clean from my account because she wanted the cash at the end of the year. And it was so easy. Like we went back and forth a couple of times. It was funny. It was lighthearted because I had a good relationship with my attorney, but she knew I'd already paid out of the ass, you know, all those years. And she wanted to be done with me too. And but I didn't pay off my divorce for 12 years. 12 years I made payments on my divorce. So it's a long time for some of us that owe a lot of money to those people. But the other thing is, that whole time, guys, I felt like there was this huge cloud and weight over me. And you have to realize it's not going anywhere. Like, it's just a payment, you know, like, don't feel bad that you owe your attorney money. You still got to live life. You still got to go to the grocery store. You still got to do stuff with your kids. Don't make yourself so negatively mindset because you're like, oh, I have this attorney bill. There were some weeks I only paid $25 because that's all I had. Now, other weeks I'd pay $250. Other weeks I'd pay $75. I paid what I could. She was pretty flexible with that. Again, we negotiated that out in our contract. But you guys have to keep living your life. You can't turn everything off and be like, woe is me. It's just another utility bill. That's the way I looked at it. It was just another monthly bill that I had. and you have to keep living. You can't stop everything and stop doing absolutely everything in your life and be miserable because you have this attorney bill. And I know you have it.
Very good point, Sam. And I just want to share, I had several cases like that when people were working with attorney without clear kind of outcome that they want to receive. And they were paying through the roof, and, the bills were coming, but there were no results that they wanted. Yep. And I said, sit down and outline what is the outcome by what date that you want to accomplish. Because like you said, it may go for years. And I have people who work with me, they work for years with the divorce attorney. Yep. So be very clear what you want them to accomplish. And you know what? If they don't fit the bill, change the attorney, right? Both of them changed the attorney in case of my clients, and they found someone who was more responsible. And you've got to interview them. You've got to really be very clear what is the outcome that you want them to deliver for the investment that you make in their service. Mm-hmm. Remember, it's your investment in the service to help you get out of the situation.
You've got to read your contract.
If you don't get return on your investment, contract is very important, but also be very clear what exactly that you want them to accomplish and what is the estimated time that they think they would be able to do that for you. So it shouldn't be like forever.
Right. It shouldn't be. Right. I've had a lot of clients lately find attorneys that do flat fees, which I just think is genius for the client. If I could have known that I could have paid my attorney $20,000 and say, okay, here's $20,000. I have you until I'm divorced, I would have been $80,000 ahead, but I didn't. I mean, so interview attorneys and ask that, knowing your contract and knowing what you're paying for. And that whole, if I don't get the solution that I'm paying for, do I still owe? I mean, it's one of the craziest things. We pay for something to have a shitty result. It just blows my mind. So read your contracts, but negotiate anything, any debt that you have. You owe on a lawnmower, negotiate it. Call the place. Tell them you're broke. Tell them you're not going to make the payments. Tell them you're stop making payments unless you can reduce it by 50%. And people will work with you. You just have to do the embarrassing thing of calling and admitting that you're broke and start negotiating. It's either that or your kids suffer. And I think what Millen was saying at the beginning is so important. And we tell you guys this all the time. What you're doing is modeling to your children. So if they see this negativity around money, they're going to grow up with negativity and fear base around money. If they see you struggling, they're going to have guilt when they ask for money from you for sporting events or a birthday party. They're going to be like, oh, mom's always sad about money. I probably shouldn't even tell her I got invited to that because that costs too much money. That costs too much money. And so you got to be really mindful. There's a difference between teaching your kids to be responsible with money and making them worry about money at a young age, because you are literally setting a foundation for how they're constantly going to think about money the rest of their life. So be very mindful of how much you share about your woes with where you are financially in your life as a single parent.
Well, you cannot fake it because kids feel it.
Right.
You know, it's like they're like sponges.
Yep.
They feel your energy. So you really have to work on yourself and teach them. Use it as a teachable moment. I can tell you that one of my clients, she had 5 kids, and she said, I see how they change, because now when she has money date, I call it money date, and she tracks her money, kids sit down with her and she showed them, you see, I'm paying this for utilities, this for this. And you just need to plan your money. She said, you know, I see the difference in the way they perceive money now, just by me getting them involved in a very empowering way, not like fearful, oh, I can't afford it. Be very careful with the words that you choose, not only with yourself, because, you know, you're listening, right? Your subconscious mind is listening, but also with your kids. If you keep saying, we can't afford this, or like, stop doing this because it cost me too much money or whatever. They will feel this fear of money in their body, in their being. So it's very important what words you use when you talk to them, and for yourself as well, because you cannot fake it. You cannot.
Yeah, so true. And before we go, Millen, I wanted to just touch on credit score. So what are some things that single parents can do to try to increase their credit score? And how important is that they do that?
So credit score is important if you need to rent an apartment, because most landlords look at the credit score. If you want to buy a house and get a mortgage, if you want to buy a car and you get a loan, it is important. And I can tell you that if you pay, even if you cannot pay in full, so negotiate whatever loans you have. The funny part is that if you have loans and you pay them like monthly, your credit score will get improved. That's one thing. And I went through like very low credit score because I couldn't pay for certain things, and I built it up that way.
Yeah.
Right? I was just paying consistently. And also there are companies that help you to improve. They tell you, oh, open card maybe with this store and pay it off, because it's the consistency in your pattern, in your behavior that they paying attention to. If you consistently pay the loan, then they will increase your credit score.
What about in those scenarios where, because this happens often, semi-often, I mean, Sam can probably attest to this, where if someone was a stay-at-home mom forever and their spouse was the one handling all the money, so they don't have any credit cards in their name, right. They don't have any loans in their name, the house was not in their name, and now they have to move out on their own. If they don't have that credit history, what can they do to start trying to build up their credit when they don't have any?
Well, usually, dealing with improving credit histories, improving credit score is not really my forte. I can tell you what I've done is open the credit card that you can, like, I don't know, some store credit card, and start paying it off. It will take some time to build it up if you don't have any credit score, credit history at all. But it's getting some small loan and paying it off, getting another loan and paying it off. You can maybe, like in my case, for example, I opened the card that offered points to pay back. And so I was using these points, the rewards points, and I was making sure that I will pay it off. And that's how I build up my credit as well.
Okay. I have heard people use prepaid credit cards too. I've never had one, but I have heard people talk about that, where you kind of, like, let's say you have $300, you can open up a credit card, you put that $300 on there, and then it builds your credit as you use it, but you can only use up to that amount, and then you have to pay it back. So that could be an option too if you're looking.
That's interesting. That's interesting.
Yeah. So, Sam, do you have any other questions?
I don't think so. I think she nailed a lot of things, a lot of the worries that people have, a lot of steps that they can take to get out of it. But I think the one thing that all of us preach to everybody is it's that mindset. You got to be able to be open to solutions. You got to be open to, first, self-recognition of knowing how deep is the hole you're in. I mean, really looking at those finances. I remember the first time I looked at mine, it was fucking scary. It was scary to see, oh shit, here's my salary. Here's what my bills are. Those two numbers aren't the same.
And that's why, Sam, it's a very good point. That's why it's very, very important to have some kind of money tracker.
Yeah.
You can find some online. I program my spreadsheet for my clients so they track their money, and they also map their money into different money buckets. Tracking your money, being aware of your cash flow, it's super important step, because now you're not blindfolded. You know what is coming in and what is coming out. Without this awareness, you cannot really change it, because you will keep just throwing
you're being stubborn, and you're just being blind because you don't want to know how bad it is. And that is not going to fix the problem. And I will say, we just recently went through our credit card and figured out that we had 2 subscriptions that we weren't even using, and hadn't been using them for 2 years. And they were still coming out every month, and they totaled over $125. And it was like, what are we doing? But we use our credit card for everything. So we didn't see it. We weren't looking. We're just paying off our credit card, paying, and not really looking at so really go over your finances. And banks make mistakes, and stores make mistakes. So you guys really you just got to look at it. I know it's hard. I know it's ugly. It's embarrassing. It's worrisome. but you need to look at your bills and write it all out and have some kind of functionality to it and really just own it for what it is and cut things out. If that means you have to cut cable, you cut cable and you steal it from your neighbor for a while.
Right.
But
I just think that it's a habit. It's a very good money habit to have.
Yeah.
Even when you start getting more money, it's a good habit to have, because you will say, okay, so now I have more, I can do this and that. But you are aware of your cash flow, of the money that coming in and coming out. So it's not only for the difficult times, it's also for better times that you've got to really keep track of your cash flow.
Exactly.
So true. This was awesome, Millen. Thank you so much for coming in here and giving all of this great advice. And so where is this, is your website the best place for people to reach you if they have more questions or want to touch base about maybe working with you?
I want to offer, my website has a lot of information because I have a blog and I have all kinds of videos there as well.
Good.
But today I want to offer something very special to your audience.
Oh.
It's a complimentary consultation with me, where I will help you to see what is the best next step for you, considering your particular situation. And to get this consultation, to schedule it, go to speakwithmillen.com. Speakwithmillen.com. Very easy to remember. It's like speak with and then MILLEN.
Yeah.
And you can schedule your complimentary consultation, and let's see what you could do considering where you are right now, because different people are in different situations, and maybe you have to do something that you didn't even think about, right? So I've done this for many years, and I know that it's very, very helpful for many people when you have a pretty much private consultation. By the way, the value is $497. It's my gift to your audience.
Oh, okay. If you guys don't jump on that, you're stubborn.
Yeah.
Jump on
that today.
That's a good point. Yeah. Remember, you're not stuck, you're stubborn.
That's right.
Yes.
That's right.
Thank you so much. That is really generous. And I hope everybody takes advantage of that offer. That's amazing. So thank you guys for hanging out with us. Again, if you have questions, reach out to Millen. If it's about money stuff, if you have any other questions regarding your divorce, don't hesitate to reach out to Samurai. And we will be back live again next week, definitely Thursdays, and probably before then, because we usually hop on.
Yeah, we'll be on this weekend for sure. For sure, you guys. Take care, everybody.